Where is my notebook? All the way back over here. I wasn't even ready. I should get dice
I
and my
would like to
notebook.
say we are about to start part 53, and it is page 600 of the notes. Exactly. Made
There
me
you go, guys. We don't
happy.
much D&D.
So I'm gonna apologize for the brevity of this recap because I have not consulted Dan's notes to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Shenanigans ensued.
It was
Chaos.
it
So
was quite a short session anyway, so
it was kind of a short session. Are you recording?
I am.
Okay. We managed to teleport to Viros and uh, spend some time getting equipment and supplies for our trek north. Abrashmina getting some boots of the Winterlands for an exorbitant price because she was very, very much in need of them. Stayed at the Shady Maiden for a bit. And then we started walking north towards Calland. Um, and we stopped off at a small village. During one night's watch, Makud is very lucky and finds a metal pot with some uh,
Keatomes ointment.
ketones ointment. Thank you.
No worries.
And then the next day, we teleport to Calland, spend a small bit of time in Oakhart Village, which is a regular stomping ground for Bren and her troop. They basically wintered here whenever like the weather got too bad. Makud gets a pelt to help with his fur. Um,
Winter
and,
Wolf.
and it was a giant winter wolf, and the fur was very kind of dismissive towards Makud, and so Makud has sworn that he is going to catch a winter wolf himself and show this trapper up. And we continue on our way towards Callan. About like we are within sight of Callan whenever we are ambushed by five. One can only assume a coven of brr hags.
Brrr.
Bear hags.
Bear hags.
Bear hags. um, Managed to kill them all, looted the bodies, and we are heading into Gallon to rest.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that happened. It was pretty quick, straightforward session. Um, but yeah, you guys continue your journey for the rest of the day, arriving in Calland around dinner time. Sort of mid to late evening. It's dark. It's cold. There's a flurry of snow that begins to fall. Calland itself is quite an atypical city, very different to Ashar and Viros. Both of those were just these sort of giant stone metropolises. Calland is almost entirely built out of wood. There are some stone foundations to the outer walls, but it looks like everything is constantly being, replaced and repaired, and it's this sort of ship of Thebes type city. Lots of low, kind of oval shaped buildings all clustered together to form like these kind of narrow streets with the snow pushed to the sides. And they've kind of made paths by like burying stones so only the top face is visible, so there's like something of a path, but for the most part it seems quite almost backwards to those of you who haven't been before. It's a bit, it's not quite the gleaming towers and you know trade hub that Viros and Ashar seem to be.
Do I know much about the politics of Calland? Like, is it a nation? Is it a city state?
Yeah,
Is it...
you and Brim would know a fair bit, just reasonably. It's essentially a kingdom, and ruled by a queen currently. so I suppose it's a queendom. But she basically holds dominion over the lands north of Taeth. There's a few dozen villages, a couple towns, and Calland itself are like within, Calland city and Calland the state, the country. But yeah, it's lots of earls and posturing and like, because you would know Taeth is all about like families and bloodline and stuff. Like they're very like, I'm X son of X. Like they put a lot of stock in their families. Callan's more about just from a cultural perspective, like more about an individual's deeds. They don't really care who your dad was. They want to see how good you are, kind of thing. So,
Calland, that's how they feel.
That's Callan's much more like that. So it's very like,
Queen, but
this.
she's merit kind of.
Yeah, so it's not a hereditary monarchy. It's a vote amongst the earls as to who becomes the king or queen.
Is there a king's moot to her?
Yeah, it's probably got a different name that's cooler, but yeah, that sort of thing.
Cool's mute.
Cool's mute. Yeah, it's just King's mute, but there's a J after, every letter. King's mute. But yeah,
there could be a mute's mute, and they're all very quiet.
They'll just stand and look at each other. But yeah, Bryn would know a few taverns and stuff that have a good place to stay. A warm meal here and there. Unless you guys, want to try your luck at the docks immediately. But up to you.
Well, I believe that we discussed, albeit briefly, about the idea of going up and investigating Reithi Peak.
We did, but I believe we wanted to go in the morning, no?
Yes. I was just saying, like, his...
Before...
The
right,
DM voice in the sky mentioned us going to the docks now, so I was just throwing out that we were possibly not going to be leaving Callan just yet.
Very well.
I could do with a meal. I could make a recommendation, Brendan.
Just about any place, really.
Yeah, there's definitely a few you would have stayed in. You can find some with, warm beds, good fires, and, strong booze, which is pretty much, the main thing that things that matter up here. And yeah, you guys can bed down for the night. Is there anything anyone would like to do this evening / night / early morning?
I will infuse.
Oh wait.
I will infuse tea.
There you go.
When Bryn says just about any place, really, we could basically just beelines to whatever is closest and push
Someone's
through
house.
the door.
Nope, that's a house.
But I imagine after they've gotten over the initial shock of A, seeing a Minotaur, and B, seeing a Minotaur in a winter wolf's fur, and perhaps mistaking it for invading their house or something, he'll test the drink.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's
and
good
the
stuff.
Food.
You find there's quite a lot of... There's a few buildings here and there that are comfortably big enough for you, but way too big for any reasonable people. There's 12, 13 foot high doors in some buildings and stuff. And they make, there's every now and then you just come across this really tall building sticking out among all the shorter ones. It's a bit strange. So maybe you end up in one of those nice big places.
Oh.
So you
how are the reactions to like Makud and Abrashmina and Eli? 'Cause
There's not a huge amount of people outside, but when you go in, I mean, you see people of, it's not just Callans who live in Calland. So there's, there's a few other people. Though, Minotaur is pretty unusual, so you get a few glances, but they're quite an insular people. They don't, no one's going to come up and bother you unless they're, trying to steal some coin or something, so.
Do they have hot toddies or anything like a warm alcoholic beverage?
For sure have some warm mulled stuff, probably.
Yeah. Abrashmina would like to partake of that.
Some Brennivin, Dan?
Hey, where's the pickled shark?
Grim stuff. Absolutely
Fermented.
disgusting. The shark was better.
The shark was better.
Yeah. That Brennivin was grim. Anywho. Yes, so infusions, sleeps and drinks happen. And the next morning you'll wake up toasty and warm. Not really wanting to leave the big fur beds that you're in. But eventually I imagine you'll drag yourselves up and meet for some kind of breakfast. Maybe to discuss the plans.
Declan will be up early, of course. Probably
For sure.
just hanging out in the inn and listening to the chatter around him.
Yeah. So, getting to...
I'm just going to point out, this may be the first time that, like, Mina or Makud ever used really, like, a cover or a fur or anything, because this is the first time that they've slept in somewhere that isn't a desert.
I mean, it gets pretty cold at night in the desert. You probably still sleep with blankets.
I'd imagine the house... maybe.
They probably have, like, thin blankets.
A
but,
thin
yeah.
something.
Not like a big
Certainly
heavy
not
fan.
like the layers and layers of blankets that are probably here. It'll be unusual.
Well, while C's laptop's unshitting itself, you guys know that it'll take about 40% of your day-ish to get to Reithi Peak. So...
To the top or to the bottom?
To the bottom. I mean,
Okay.
climbing a fucking mountain could take a couple days.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know.
No,
You said
reasonable
it was a
question.
big place,
Reasonable
so,
question.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
no.
would it take the other 60% of the day to climb the mountain?
I mean, if you're lucky.
Maybe.
That's 100% of our day, so we might be have some exhaustion involved in that.
I mean,
That's
I
fine
100% of your waking day. I meant 12
Mhm.
to 16 hours. Talking about travel, so 40% of the day to get to Reithi Peak, a few hours to get to the foot of Reithi Peak. So, if you're trying to climb it, you may have some issues.
Can you make us fly?
Not for 4 people or 6 people.
Mostly asking if Bryn had that spell, but it sounds like probably not.
Flying is for losers. People who actually...
Hey!
Does Eli have
Oh shit.
fly things? Because he's possibly casting at like a 5th level.
Yes, you could do 4 of us.
4th? I don't know.
He definitely has more than one spell.
That's good.
Um,
Does he only ever cast Hex?
there's multiple levels.
He's cast Luke's Resilient Sphere, Banishment, and Conjure something or other.
How do you know that?
He's definitely cast the sphere because that's what we basically know him for.
Yeah.
Putting bubbles on things. If he can capture most people in the sphere, Maku can just kick it up the mountain.
Yeah.
Really low.
He cannot fly,
Okay.
but he can summon
Look
demons.
fabulous.
He's
Well,
got
that's
he's got a lot of
Oh,
demon summoning spells.
I feel like that's not going to go down well.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't summon demons right now.
He's got magical secret Guess what that secret does? Summons a demon.
Summons demons.
Great.
It's sort of one of his things.
Okay.
That and
We haven't seen that
spheres.
side of him yet.
Not really. And society doesn't tell to girlfriends until they're much more involved.
Yeah.
Hey babe,
It's
you
like,
like
hey,
demons?
babe, now that, like, you know, we're a thing.
Mhm.
Like, oh, gosh.
I feel like that's a deal breaker.
Hey,
Mina
some-
walks into the living room and he's sitting there with like a Balgura watching TV or something. Yeah, I just summoned a mate.
The game was on. I didn't want to watch
Yeah.
it alone.
I have needed a second player to play Luigi because Mario on his own can't get.
All right. Anyways, I'm sorry that my computer just randomly went to sleep there.
No worries.
I made a comment that it was our first night in a place that was so cold. First night we maybe slept in furs and that kind of thing. Mina and Makood.
Real quick, I got a text message from a buddy of mine who's coming over to drop off some baby shower gifts for us. So I'll need to take a break for like 20 minutes in the middle of the session, if that's okay.
No worries, mate. Just let us know.
Got it. Thank you.
We got everything we need to climb a mountain with.
I got all the climby stuff.
You got all the climbing stuff, didn't you? Cool.
So,
What we could do before we go start off and climb that mountain is we could maybe put some like preliminary feelers out for this captain guy.
Yeah, we could. Just some preliminary ones. I don't
Right.
think he's still alive.
I don't think he's still alive, but maybe someone who
Yeah.
knows known him or know his descendants, you know, and then, you know, put those out and say, hey, if you know anything, you know, we'll be back in a couple of days or whatever,
Yeah.
and then go off and handle.
Declan was up listening for rumors and stuff. Could we say that he was investigating?
yeah. Make an investigation check.
Oh, that's bad. But I can't roll lower than a 10 anymore on a permission check. So yippee for me.
Yippee.
Yeah.
That'll be a 23.
So you don't hear the names. The guy's called Nar Scarborough.
Scarborough.
You don't hear that name, but you do hear them saying that there's a lady called Yiri, Yiri, whose ship has just come in again, and it's called the Scar Prow, as in the prow of a ship. Maybe got something to do with it.
Sounds like an homage to a dead relative. Well, I share that information. Seems that a woman named Yuri is in possession of a vessel called the Scar Prow. Seems a likely connection. Good place to start.
All right, we could start there, or we can just head off to the.
We do
Well,
not know how long she will be in port, so it may be wise to meet her first.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Pretty much the same thing. I
You know
know.
the way to Oxford.
I mean, just walk towards the water.
Declan kind of smiles a little bit, like, okay.
All right. So are you guys heading off to the docks then before you go?
Seems that way.
Okay.
I think so. Just so that this person can get their affairs in order, perhaps.
Yeah. So you follow the signs of swearing from sailors and the smell of the sea, and you come to the wide open docks of I was so close to saying Shalkun there. I'm still having this fucking issue. Callan, or not even Shalkun, Ashar. God damn it. Calland. Mostly sort of longship type boats, like quite kind of low, light, speedy looking ships. Though you do see a few like really really big like iron iron proud ships that are, you know, like pretty common as LIII uses like icebreakers up here, where they'll like kind of smash through bits of ice to help other ships get through. Towards the end, you and kind of following, you know, maybe some directions and that sort of thing, you see a particularly battered looking longship with no, we lost C again. There's a very battered looking longship with two people unloading stuff from it. Am I still good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like my thing is I couldn't, like, I'd always double check to see if Dylan's moving, and then he's just
Just
like
sitting
sitting
very
still. So I was like, oh fuck, have I frozen? Just
Sorry.
make sure, just constantly dance for me if you would. That'd be, that's better. Yeah. One is this kind of tall, not exactly muscular, like quite svelte woman. Like hefting boxes. You know, she's fit. She's had a hard life. She's, you know, battle scarred. Very like gruff looking, I would suppose. And the other is this large half-orc gentleman in a sort of like fur, like vest, wife beater type thing with his arms exposed, and he's got, you know, big old arms, and he's like lifting harpoons and stuff. And you can see like written in runes that probably only Bryn would be able to read on the side of the ship. It says the Scarborough.
Bryn, what
The
does
one?
Bryn say?
Scarfro? This is the ship we're looking for.
Ah. After you.
Oh, okay.
The talky one, I don't.
Oh god, the Americans, they hate silence. Quick, someone say something.
I mean, okay, I'll.
That
Are
was
we
close.
asking for the captain, or are we just asking for someone who might know about Four Mansion or Dragon Island or whatever the place is?
America, you need transport. Right?
They have to know how to get there.
Well, that's part and parcel to the question, no?
It
Do you
just
want me
makes- No, I've got it. I mean, I will book us passage on the ship.
I'm
Just cut-
imagining now that you're in Lament, you're like speaking, not in a show. So Makuda's just like,
Yeah.
just like as you like bicker in front of him.
That whole thing, I'm just picturing the camera zooms
Yeah,
in
like,
on Mina, and she does like the Jim Halpert, like look to the camera.
Yeah, I was just going to say is there's like a slight delay, and then Abroshmina is like, only if they know the way. We don't need to book passage if they don't know the way.
That's what I was trying. That's what I was saying. Do we want to ask for the captain, or do we want to ask if they know how to get to the island?
I trust you to intuit the proper course.
How long have we known each other?
How long have we known each other? It's been months, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's enough time for us to you to understand that that's really probably not my strong suit.
Well, we cannot find out where the island is if they do not know where it is. That there's no point in attempting to book passage if they do not know where it is. But
See, this is very helpful. We have to find out if they know the captain. Scarborough.
Scarborough Fair was his name.
Okay.
just Scarborough, and Abroshmina
No,
points
Scarborough.
at her.
Nars. All right, so I'm gonna stride up to the ship like I know what I'm doing.
I'm going to cast guidance.
I have faith.
As you approach, the orc keeps working, but the woman like stands up and kind of frowns and gives you an appraising look. And she'll ask in Callan, "What do you want?"
I was wondering if you might help my friends and I. We're actually looking for someone. Nar Scarborough? The name ring a bell?
She raises her eyebrows. Yeah, I know him.
I mean, I imagine he's probably no longer with us.
You could say that.
But we're looking for someone who might have access to some information he had.
She looks a little defensive immediately. Information such as what?
He knew the location of some place that I'm trying to get to.
Which is...
I can't understand any of this, but can I insight check her just to see if she seems like she's hostile?
You can, but at disadvantage, we'll say.
Oh no! Well, a 14 and a 13, which gives me a 26.
She doesn't seem hostile. She seems a bit northern, a bit standoffish.
All right.
A little bit like someone's prying into her personal business, and she's not about that, but no more than you'd expect.
We're looking for someone who might know the location of an island that few, if any, people have ever been to.
Called...
Gormanthan?
Lightning strikes in the distance.
Say that again! She pulls a gun.
The horse is winning.
She kind of like blinks and crosses her arms in a sort of like, no shit kind of look. And the orc begins to laugh. And she says, "You want to go to Gormanthan?"
Well, yeah, I mean, do you have people casually strolling by asking where the location of that island is?
I mean, no.
Okay. So we've established that I know what Gormanthan is. Do you know how to get there?
Yeah, I know.
Perfect. Now we've reached phase 2. We need to book passage.
Confrontational, high charisma character ever. Great dummy.
The northern way.
Yeah. Passage to Gormanthan won't be cheap.
All right.
Say 3,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and this journey, there's probably a 50-50 chance I come back alive. Even less come back with my ship, so it's the price.
They are speaking Callan, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yes?
only Bryn can understand.
Only, okay.
We do it for 2,500, and we won't let anything happen to your ship or you.
Well, unless you've got some magical staff that can quell the waves, I'm not sure that's going to be possible. Look, I'm the only person who can take you to
Let me see
Gormanthan.
if I have that spell.
I'm the only person who can take you to Gormanthan. So, if you don't like my price, you don't go.
I mean, controlling the weather isn't that hard, is it?
She kind of gives you like a, I guess, appraising look with new information. She's like trying to determine if you're some kind of mage or if you're just an asshole.
The answer's both.
I figured.
Oh, I love you, Jade. So much. I think I have control weather at this point. Not that you would know that I have control weather
I don't
at this
care. I'm bluffing. Let me bluff.
I know. I'm letting you, the player, know.
You
Have the
don't
meta knowledge.
You don't ever let me lie. You don't let me bluff. You don't let me have
It's
any fun. Yeah, I mean, 2,500 and we can control the weather.
Make me a deception check.
wait, I don't think I can. What level is that? I should have that. I have control water. I have control water.
Oh,
You can't control winds.
I have control water.
it's annoying because you didn't roll that great, but you don't just accept that someone else can control the weather.
Give her advantage.
I mean, you better be able to back that up at some point. The storm comes in.
I rolled a 14.
Oh, she beat you.
Yeah.
It's level
So
8 to control weather. See?
Thank you. We're not that high yet,
Bad luck.
but I do have control water, so that's something.
I
She's-
mean, I rolled 2. So.
So she just says,
Oh.
oh fuck. She goes, okay, prove it.
All right. Hold on a second. You might want to like stand back.
She and they all like glance at each other and take a step back.
And I'm going to use minor illusion to make it look like I control the weather.
Okay.
In a 5-foot square.
Like at a 5-foot square, like make it snow or look like it's snowing and some winds blowing.
Oh, you absolute bastard. Okay, make me another deception check.
With advantage because of minor illusion?
No.
That one's much better. That's a 25.
They both look thoroughly impressed. Well, fine. 2,500.
Alright.
We better make it back from this. She'll hold
We
my
will.
hand to you.
Hold on, shake your hand.
When do you plan to leave?
We've got some business. Should take us
The dragon, just up that mountain.
with Reithi Peak. We got some business there.
We have an appointment.
Before we go to the Island of Doom, we need to go talk with the dragon that's top of the mountain. Just hang on a minute.
You're going to ride this peak.
What part of the conversation we just had made you think that I'm being safe and not taking
Well-
risks today?
If you're going to ride this peak, I'm going to need payment up front.
Okay.
You pay her?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was nice knowing you. And she'll
I'll get
begin
back
loading
here.
stuff back on the ship.
All right. I'll see you in a couple days.
Bryn, I noticed that you paid her.
Mhm.
But you haven't gotten on the boat yet. And what was the thing with this illusion snow?
I was controlling the weather.
Were you?
Yes.
All right. Are they going to wait for us?
Yes, they're gonna wait for us.
For how long?
Till we get back from Reithi's Peak.
I'm gonna insight check Bryn. Does she know that to be true?
She thinks it's true.
31, she does?
I'm not lying.
Oh, God. I really wish I spoke Callan right now.
I mean, I offered to let you negotiate.
Well, clearly I couldn't have.
I mean, I could have translated.
Well, like I said, I trust you.
Do you though? That insight check suggests otherwise.
We've come so far in our relationship.
Yeah, I know.
Well, all right. You may have transport this evening, but you've certainly paid for it.
They're gonna be gone.
Like Makud is around and was not really part of the conversation.
Mhm.
So, how big is that ship? For there only to be two of them? Are there more crew? Does it look like it's going to be a comfortable journey for a Minotaur?
It doesn't look too bad. It's, you know, Makud probably doesn't want to stand up on it. It's relatively shallow, and there's nowhere to go. Like, there's no below decks to go in. But yeah, it looks comfortable enough.
He's going to get so bored when this is actually like a week's journey away. Thing.
It's okay. It's
You
okay, Dan. We just
never asked.
paid for a ship that we're not going to need because we're going to ride on a white dragon's back to get to Gormantha.
Sure.
I mean, if you were going to ride on a white dragon's back, that would defeat the whole convoluted purpose we came up with for Nahasira not spiriting you there in the first place.
He's a
Dumbass.
he's a chromatic dragon.
He also maybe doesn't want to go to the.
Strathmorn might not know that
Strathmorn.
Strathmorn might not know that this chromatic, kid, great grandkid or whatever is a good guy.
Well, that was bargaining. Depression is next.
Oh, that was me.
Good kind of like gives shifty.
Apologies.
Looks at the boat. Not looking forward to this kind of like raft as far as he's concerned. I'm guessing the orc never seen an orc before. Like they're just different to hobgoblins. I'm guessing that's all he thinks.
Yeah.
These are just northern hobgoblins. That's fine.
Yeah. He's much taller than hobgoblins, and a different color.
I
but,
bet.
no.
He's just like they breed him different over here.
Yeah.
Apparently.
He's like Jari is kind of wiry. He's built like someone who survives in the desert, whereas this guy's built to store fat and muscle. So he's this
A
big
guy.
old bloke. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, and it is just the two of them.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he doesn't really know any better. So far, the ship we spent most time on has been dry docked, and there's only about 4 of them on there anyway.
And almost 100% of the ships you've been on are now in pieces at the bottom of the ocean. So that's fucking great. Actually,
It's
is
a
it
good record.
100%?
I think so. I
It
think
was.
the only
It
ship.
was the bank ship and the prison ship.
Asshole ship.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the disciples.
Yeah.
ship that we
Colo's
fought on.
Colo's
Colo.
ship.
Colo.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Apparently, this purchase of being able to water breathe was really good in the dwarf store.
Dwarfstore.com.
Yeah, Makud gives an appraising look over the situation and probably would rather climb a mountain, so we can start doing that.
Okay.
Up
So
the mountain.
to the mountain. So
First we go sleep, yes? Or is this morning?
this is the next morning.
Sorry.
No worries.
Oh,
no worries.
okay.
Yeah, this is next morning.
Oh, well then never mind. I was gonna do things in the morning, but that's
you
alright.
can retroactively do things. Your internet or your
It
computer.
wouldn't make much sense. I was gonna do commune or whatever. It's okay.
Sure.
It don't matter.
Okay. Well, you I guess leave to make the trek towards Reithi Peak. Dan, roll me a d20, please.
Oh Christ, I should actually get dressed up. 13?
13. Okay. So
13 days later.
yeah. You guys basically have to travel over like these kind of wide like tundra fields. Like it's not that much deep snow, but it's just sort of miserable, hard packed ground. kind of uneven, but eventually you sort of arrive at the clustered forests at the foot of Reithi's Peak. It's very like tall and jagged. It looks like the very top is extremely sheer. It looks like someone's like smashed the top off the mountain, so it's like flat on one plane, where it looks like it's been cut in half at the top or something. And as you walk around, like through the forest towards the mountain, can I just get a perception check from everyone?
A what?
Perception check.
Perception. I rolled a 13 again, plus 6 for 19.
Oh, good sees it.
23.
Mina sees it.
Spice is going to jail.
Definitely sees it. What did Bryn see?
You got 16.
16. Okay, Bryn sees it. So the four of
This
you.
is the base of the mountain, you said?
Yeah, base of the mountain in some forest. The four of you are walking towards, like you're kind of feeling the slope pick up. It's getting a bit steeper, and you see poking out from behind a tree, a tiny, snow white, like lizard-like face, about 3 feet off the ground, piercing blue eyes staring at the four of you.
Snow Crane. I think we do have an observer. Does it look like a dragon?
Make me a history. Oh, well, make me. Go on, just an easy one.
Okay. What kind of check am I rolling here?
Like history, arcana.
I'll do Arcana. Instead of the 27.
Yeah, it looks pretty draconic. It's not a dragon, but it's got some dragony bits to it for sure. It's not your standard lizard.
Not quite a dragon.
Like a drake?
More like a kobold.
Oh.
Sure. He said 3 feet off the ground, like
No, please.
Snow Queen.
Snow Queen.
As soon as
I was hoping it was a bear, but
Technically, I'll say just in common. Hello, little friend. You mean you no harm?
lets out a little squawk and ducks behind the tree again, and you see another one, a different kobold, perfectly snow white again, poking its head out from behind a different tree.
Just whisper, make ready to kill them. Guess I'll
Wait, really?
I mean, just in case.
We might have to.
Oh.
You never know.
About to attack.
If you actually say that, then does Abrashmina know what a kobold is at all?
Make a.
Doesn't seem like it would be something that.
I'll give you history or arcana because you've done a lot of research on dragons. So.
Have I? Oh, that's generous.
So I know, Kreen aside, kobolds are evil, right?
Yes, but they also if we're going this is meta knowledge. I don't know if Abrashmina knows this, but they also serve dragons, and we know there's a dragon here.
I'm not saying we're definitely gonna kill them, but they could try
We're
to.
gonna kill him.
It's a 15.
Yeah, you pretty much reckon that the chromatics, generally you don't get metallic kobolds, and the chromatic kobolds basically swarm to the most powerful dragon they can find that has that coloration, is this of the same ancestry. So it is very likely that if there is a dragon here, these guys work for it.
What's the name of the dragon that we're looking for again?
Reithi.
Reithi. I'll say, we seek Reithi. We are here to parley with him.
You hear like a whisper go through the woods that's way more than like 2 or 3 little kobold voices. Reithi, Reithi, Reithi. And eventually one of them will kind of step out from behind the tree. You see it's carrying like what appears to be like a sort of crude spear made of wood. It's basically a wooden stake. He kind of lowers it towards the four of you. And he says, "You want kill Reithi?"
We wish to speak with Reithi. Talk.
Talk. And like the word talk like gets echoed around the forest. You come. You follow. Follow.
I think they want us to follow.
At least they're not trying to stab us.
Thank goodness for small miracles.
Yeah. So as you guys follow this very proud looking kobold, he's kind of standing up a bit straighter because he's got an important job. Like, glance behind you and there's just like more and more of them just sort of coming out of the woodwork, like following in a big train behind you all. And they sort of lead you through the woods to this sort of like open section of ground, and the kobold at the front kind of turns and points the spear at the four of you again. He says, wait, it kind of echoed around.
We shall wait.
And he turns back around and like begins scampering up towards this kind of cluster of rocks and like dives into it, and you hear a splash. There's like a small brief moment of time where there's just silence aside from the excited chittering of the kobolds. Dylan, I think we're getting a bit of echo from you.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries. Just hard to speak and hear myself at the same time.
My bad.
No worries.
Is that any better?
Yeah, can't hear anything now.
Okay.
There's a gap, and then he reappears, and he says, "Soon, wait." Points the spear at you again. He's like soaking wet, and you can see like the water like crystallizing on his person.
We wait.
There's 5 or 10 minutes go by just standing in the cold, surrounded by what is probably 2 or 3 dozen tiny little white kobolds before there is a shadow that just darkens the entire forest above you. The kobolds are like squeal and kind of scamper away, except the leader. And you'll look up to see a dragon bigger than any that you've seen, which is, I guess, just Nahasira. Nahasira is big. Like, she could easily swallow you whole. She is probably, 400, maybe 500 meters end to end. This dragon, from nose to tip of the tail, is about a mile. His wingspan is about the same, and it is like someone turned off the lights, and it comes kind of spiraling down, and it's like impossible to tell what color it is until finally it lands in front of you. He is snow white, has this huge, like, quite pointed jaw, almost like a sort of a setter dog, like designed for sniffing out his prey. He has this huge crest that looks like this crown of like icicles that like protrudes from the top of his head and right down his back. He has these, like, his teeth are just huge, and his eyes are this giant, like, blue, and you can see, like, his wings aren't the same as Nahasira's. They're like a wyvern's attaching to his front claws. And he's like, you can tell he's sort of pointed and designed for speed, like a spear. And there's this huge rumble, the ground shakes as he lands. And you can see, like sitting on his back, right, or sort of the back of his neck, right up near his head, is a minuscule looking, in this instance, woman with like bright red flaming hair, and like glancing up you see what appears to be two more dragons circling above, but not yet coming down. And the dragon lets out this long rumbling slow breath, kind of turning its head to one side to sort of focus its eye on each of you individually, kind of appraising you, and then it just kind of lets out this rumbling question. Who are you?
I roll baller on my wisdom save to not be scared.
Some would say his presence is frightening. Or frightful.
I could have seen it all before.
I killed dragons for you,
Alright.
like you for breakfast.
Abrashmina will like kind of hold up her hands and say, we were sent by Nahasira. She, the brass grace says that you would recognize us if we reminded you of the year 812. Is that the right number? Oh God, I hope that's the right number.
It is not the right number.
Oh no. Okay, then.
You would know that because it's not even like the Shao Kun campaign is taking place in 750. So
Oh, okay.
Cut the 8 in
shit,
half.
Pickles.
Sarah said you would recognize us if we said the word shit pickles.
No, I
oh shit, pickles, my first love.
I wrote it down. Where did I?
It's 312.
Where is it? 312. 312. I had the last three numbers.
She told you this.
She did. Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
Abrashmina nods.
We are allies of hers from Ashar. We are called the Virtues. We have made it our solemn duty to pursue justice and peace in this world. We seek your aid to this end.
She fears that Straithmorn will rise again soon.
At this, the dragon sort of rears its head up far enough away to where you can't hear the voice of the woman on its back speaking to you. And after a few moments, it sort of lowers its head again, and the dragon begins to change form, switching quickly into that of a like very muscular, sort of maybe slightly pointed faced man, like very, very tall, like, you know, threatening Makud level height, very broad. He's wearing like these kind of thick white furs. His face is kind of hard.
I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, you
sorry.
were
My
roboting.
phone.
You were roboting so bad, Rob.
So I was,
Yeah.
I'm glad I was like, I closed out of Facebook, I closed out of Spotify. I was like, oh no, it's not getting better.
can you hear me okay now?
Oh, us and our internet problems.
Yeah.
Better?
We heard that at least.
Yeah.
Whether or not the next thing you say will be clear is another question.
Well, considering I already said it,
Well,
I
that
think
was
that's a
delayed.
no.
Oh, give us a sentence.
Kick your brother off the Wi-Fi.
It's literally, I don't know what it is.
The dragon was so big that it's using a lot of its
Yeah.
internet to load
Yeah.
it, so
Can you hear me okay now?
Buffering. Buffer.
buffering the dragon. It's just there's a little icy circle going around on its chest. Just
Try now, Rob.
How now, Brown DM?
That's not okay. I'm hoping you heard that, because
well, we heard
otherwise
you say
you'll
that.
just laughed like crazy people at nothing.
But if you followed it up with any
Fuck.
other witticisms, it's like we can only hear like the first sentence. It seems whenever you connect.
Alright, I'll just keep reloading.
Okay, no, that worked.
Were
Heard
you going to
that.
say okay? To be careful.
No, I was saying like, okay, we heard that, and
Okay.
then I heard that. So let's.
So Dan
Get
takes
better.
45 damage. Did you get that?
ow,
No,
ow.
that's not real.
Ow.
That's not real. But
Okay.
I thought it would be a funny joke with the internet droppers. I take it back.
Psychic damage.
Yeah, he changes into his human form. Could you guys can hear me, right? Awesome.
Ish.
Not great.
Okay.
I've decided that we need to start doing play by post.
Oh no.
Maybe we should give Discord a try one of these weeks.
So, I mean, if we could decide to go in together on a Zoom account. It's not cheap, but considering how often we play, it is a really reliable service.
Can we negotiate with them?
Maybe.
I
guess that doesn't really solve like actual internet problems, but
Like, I
No,
literally
wait.
don't know what it is.
And it's had. Well, I guess most things have had.
you don't know what Zoom is.
No, sorry, my
No, I think he
my internet
doesn't
issues.
know what's causing the.
Because I was literally, before this, I was playing an online game with C
You're
and
not
didn't have
downloading
lag.
anything, are you?
No. I was playing an online game with you, it didn't have any lag, and then we jump in here, and my internet goes all funky.
Because it's more than just me.
I mean, I think video or audio streaming can be a lot of like.
I mean, I'm
bandwidth.
not streaming.
But I guess a game is too, so I don't know.
The only internet is the Hangout, so it should be less than a Hangout and a video
Right.
game.
I know what you mean, though. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Recording the thing.
yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm-
there's
I think
it's still video because you're streaming a video to us.
yeah, maybe I'll turn off my camera, see if that helps.
Maybe.
I'll just
Also, like games often have like their own dedicated servers, so they
Mhm.
try and up the quality by pushing people
Right.
together on purpose.
yeah. I mean, it's still, you'd expect that to be more like, because I was doing a Hangout and that, so you'd expect that, just a Hangout to be less of a drain. But I don't know. Maybe it's because it's at night. Maybe it's because the world hates me.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Because we shift from into 5, like you were suddenly getting into like peak time for the East Coast. So
I'm
that
not
could
on the
be-
East Coast though.
we are.
Well, I mean,
Well, Jade is. Ish.
Kinda.
So
Eastern time zone.
What you're
And
saying
internet service providers here in the United States, they bottleneck shit during
Right.
peak times
That makes sense.
but it's only me.
because
Fucking
they're
ISPs.
assholes.
Well,
Well,
might-
yeah, Dan can't hear you either, I guess.
yeah.
Google. It's Google's fault.
Yeah. I think we can all just agree that it would
It
be
might
much.
be worth trying a different service.
Yeah. Our
Maybe
internet
we
would be
should.
much better if
We'll
we just
try
played in
Discord.
person.
We should try Discord next week.
Okay. I'm up for that.
It would be much better.
Well, we've heard most of your complaining for the.
I think there may
I'm
be a bit of a delay.
We've heard a little
I don't
bit
know.
maybe. I
You
guess.
you responded to that quickly.
Yeah.
Someone tell me to fuck off.
Fuck off.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Okay. Well, Dan beat Jade there, so I think there must be some kind of delay because I'm pretty sure Jade would have been the first one.
I was a second or two behind them.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're slipping rather than the internet.
I am flipping.
Especially
Well,
when the
Sarcasm
filter
is
is
the
all.
nexus around which
Yes,
our
I have to run it through the filter first.
Also, yeah, there was.
I didn't do years of improv to come second in an insulting Rob competition.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a disturbingly low amount of reaction time there. You all came at that pretty quick, which seems like it's simmering
Don't
just
say
below the
all me and
surface.
Dylan. Well, I guess Dylan finally said it. I didn't say it.
You
for
say
once.
finally, it
Usually
took
I
him
jump on it.
half a second. Okay.
Anyways.
So Reithi turns into his human form. I think I said that. He's
That's what you were getting at.
yeah, he's very tall, like threatening Makud height. He's very broad. He's got kind of pointed features, very muscular, wearing white furs. The woman beside him is short, freckly, bright red hair, like the stereotypical Tython Celtic woman. And Reithi will kind of turn to you, Mina, and say, "What do you know of Strathmorn?"
We know what Nahasira told us. The battle with the dragons at Gobantan, and that he fled wounded. And that's if he rises again, he poses a great threat to everyone.
And he is stirring.
She seeks to find proof of this. And if it is true, she hopes to gather you and the other Graces to fight him.
We
You
go
see-
tomorrow to Gormanthan to confirm his return.
You see him kind of flare up when you say, like, you and the other Graces. And he kind of bristles and he says, "I'm not a Grace." And you see the woman kind of...
She was including him in the Graces.
Yes, and he's saying, "I am not a Grace."
I worded that specifically so he wouldn't get insulted.
I
Yeah.
think he doesn't like being associated.
Yeah,
with
he's
the
saying
others.
he's not a Grace.
Okay.
And yeah, she...
I didn't quite hear his reaction there, Rob.
Oh, apologies. The woman puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "It's all right, it's all right." And he kind of nods. Like,
Puts a hand on his shit.
can you? Are you only getting like every other word?
We're only getting like half of what you're saying, I'm afraid.
Ah.
It's like hand on shoulder, nods, like. good, but then, has been neglected for ages, so probably not as good.
Right. Any luck?
Do we hear you?
We can hear you for now.
Then you're four of the luckiest people in the world right now.
Womp womp.
Okay. She puts a hand on his shoulder. He visibly calms and nods.
Like, what was his reaction to? Because I was trying to
Yeah.
word that in a way that, like, not, she didn't want to be all like, you and the Graces. She was trying
Yeah.
to be you and the other Graces, trying to include him in
Yeah,
that. So
I got that.
He didn't like that.
Yeah, he said,
bristled at
I'm
it.
not a Grace. Because he's not.
Yes, but Abrashmino would reply with, you have been named an ally by one of them. That, to me, would count you in their number. It is not meant as an insult.
You do not understand my kind very well.
To be as old and powerful as you are is quite inscrutable to the likes of us. We understand this. Yet we require your aid nonetheless, for we share the same fate as we share the same world.
Your compliments seem to placate him, and he nods. Would you... And the woman sort of cuts across him. Would you like to come in? Because otherwise he's just going to stand here and posture. She'll like kind of chuckle and beckon you back sort of around the mountain towards the rocks.
We would be grateful for some warmth. Thank you.
And so you see like the two dragons above begin to descend as you walk around the rocks, and you find like a sort of hidden like iron door cut into the sort of icy stone, and you walk through this very long tunnel until finally you come out in the hollow mountain. Inside, it's quite a strange place. The ground is frozen solid ice, but is covered pretty much exclusively by firs. You see like an icy pool sitting off to one side, and like a few, sort of similar to Deontay and Nahasira's living situation, like a few kind of tables and chairs and stuff pushed over to one side. Looking up, you see like there is like a bit of light coming from the top, as though there's a hole up there, like a way to get out up there. And you see that the walls themselves are basically, again, solid ice, and like there are gems and coins, and you see like a couple crates of Teeth and whiskey, and like some remnants of like a gold inlaid horse cart, just like all sorts of things like frozen in the ice, all the way up. And I mean, this place is huge, big enough to for a mile long dragon to comfortably settle in, but like most of it is just open space for him to lie out, and the sort of small living area is a bit more sort of comfortable. There's a bed and stuff, and so you'll kind of pull up some chairs. There's not quite enough for everyone. There's probably only 4, so like some furs and stuff will be pulled up.
I'll look to the Miss Frizzle lady and say, "Pardon me, my lady, but may we ask your name?"
I'm Siobhan.
Siobhan.
Right.
A pleasure.
Yeah, well, it's a little while since we've had visitors.
before we proceed, could I ask, do either of you speak Ashari? It would make things simpler for our friend. And I'll sort of point my head towards Makud.
Makuda's definitely not looking at you and is like looking in a different direction, just like taking all the mountain in.
Afraid not. We've never been. Prefer the cold.
Of course.
That is a good point, though. Abrashmina will reach a hand out for Makud and be like kind of beckoning, and is going to cast tongues.
Oh, boom.
Magic solutions.
You see.
My tongue feels funny. What did you do?
He's just covered in tongues now.
I have made it so that you can understand our new friends.
That is good.
Oh, these people. Okay.
This is Siobhan and Reithi.
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 And you hear.
Not even McCood would be stupid enough, but I would entertain the idea that he would like introduce Siobhan as the dragon and Reithi as the woman, but I think he would manage.
Yeah. Behind you, you hear footsteps, and you turn around to see two more people entering. They look very different to Reithi and Siobhan. They are both very pale skin, and both do have flaming red hair, very similar to Siobhan's, though they look a lot younger. The most distinctive feature about both of them, though, is that they both have these large, like curving horns, kind of like Eli's, but a bit thicker and heavier, and like kind of white scales like down their shoulders and necks, and like sort of these, their eyes seem to like glow with the same, piercing blue as Reithi's, and they sort of nod. One is like tall and broad like Reithi, and his sister is a little shorter but just as sort of strong and kind of bulky looking. And Siobhan will say, these are the kids, Bane and Fiath. And I mean, they're, Bane looks to be in his 30s, but hard to tell with dragons.
Can we get
Yeah.
those names in the chat? I did not get the girl's name at all. Because the internet decided to flub right when you were saying that.
Must have been on your end.
Okay.
Flubber flubber.
Bubble bubble.
And the two will...
Bane and what?
Fiath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't done this yet, I'm gonna use my I forget what it's called, but I have an ability to see through the true forms of shapeshifters. So while they're all around me, can I do that?
Yeah. You see a big fuck off dragon where Reithi is. You see Siobhan. You see Bane, and you see Fiath.
And so the three of them are all in their natural form right now.
Yes, though there's probably some flickers between Bane and Fiath. It's not really known super well because it's not done as much, but half dragons, the children of a dragon and a human, are sort of somewhere in between where they can switch between having a dragon body and a human body pretty easily. Like, they're not, polymorphing. They just have both and can do both. But their human bodies have scales and horns and stuff. So
Interesting. Also, I totally misunderstood my own ability, but I'm glad I'm clarifying it now. I can sense that they are not that
Oh, okay.
that they are illusions, but I can't actually see their original form.
So they're only Reithi's
is
illusory.
shape-shifting.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Well, not necessarily. Is it illusion? Because right now he's like actually shape shifted.
No, it's as an action you sense the presence of illusions, shapeshifters not in their original form, and other magic
okay.
and other magic designed to deceive the senses within 30 feet.
I see.
Yeah.
There's a comment there. I got you.
But it apparently applies to all illusions and not just illusions on creatures, so that's good.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey, I have a bracelet that does that too.
Ooh.
Makud is 16 gnomes in a big bodysuit.
I knew it.
Yeah.
That's how you can drink so much.
He has a
Or just share
composition
it
of
out.
16 gnomes. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just
like
do
one
the-
gnome passes out and the other one just like shifts into place to take the next drink.
They just do the human fountain, where you don't have enough cups, so you just line up under each other and pour it in the first person's mouth, and then it overflows into the second
That's
person's.
disgusting. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
That's why
They
Makud
do
always
not
smells
know
like
about
wet
social
gnomes.
distancing.
No.
Well, they're quarantining together, so.
Novid. I'm sorry, never mind.
No. Go away, COVID-19.
Novid Canteen. Sounds like a Star Wars guy.
Like a droid.
Yeah. Yeah, Siobhan and Reithi sort of introduce you. The kids don't seem much like talking. They kind of grunt in your direction and go and sort of sit off to one side to watch. And Reithi kind of leans forward and he says, "So, what is happening? Why does Nahasira send you here? I know what you said, but I want you to tell me everything."
Wait, tell him everything.
Make a deception check.
What? That's not a deception.
So you've never lied. Ever. Because you said you tell him everything.
Oh. tell him everything that Nahasira told us.
And so on me and Eli's second date, we...
You're so funny. Thanks
Sorry.
for
Sorry.
derailing your own session,
I
Rob.
know, I'm terrible. I blame the internet. Yeah, yeah, he kind of, they listen intently, and by the time you're finished, he's kind of, Reithi in particular has a kind of heavy frown on his face and his arms crossed, and he says, that is bad news.
For us all, yes. Will you aid us?
Of course. And Siobhan kind of like turns and says, "Are we doing this then?" Reithi nods and he says, "We don't have much of a choice. He will come for me regardless." Where is Nahasira?
She goes to seek out the Kitanurai. Kitanurai? The Kitanurai.
Then that is where we should go.
Do you know where the oh shit. Do you know where did she give us the name Silver? Or did I just write it down on my notes because I knew that's who she was talking about?
Dark North Wind, I believe she said.
Do you know where the Dark North Wind resides?
I know. But
She mentioned that he might also be of aid, but she did not know where we might find him.
he is... And he kind of looks a little tortured. He has found peace after a long time of suffering. I would not see him disturbed.
What was that last bit?
Would not seem disturbed.
Okay.
Not who was on the Tal'Dorei Council.
No, what about that chair? What's up with that chair? Why are there only 4 chairs?
Why does the giant say we?
Makud, I imagine everything quiets for a moment, and Makuda goes, I understand peace, but they will come for him all the same.
Siobhan kind of nods and says, he's right, Reithi. He's not going to be safe. None of us are.
The very least, he deserves a warning. And the ability to make the choice for himself.
We can pick him up on the way to Kitanarai. Reithi nods. He is in Westland. It is far from here, but I will get there quickly.
He is on the Isle of Smallfolk.
There are small folk there, but then again, I see small folk everywhere.
You and me both.
You'd also know that's where Dune's from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was mentioned like once or twice when he was first introduced, but it's been a while.
Yeah. You go on to Gormanthan.
We are.
I have never been. But my grandfather perished there. If you find his body, burn it for me.
What was your father's name? Or grandfather's name?
I believe it's Olasarai? No,
Can I have that in the chat?
it's not that. Ignore me. I'm an idiot. I know nothing.
Ignore me!
Yes.
Pay no attention
What a
to the
reference.
man behind the corner
It-
curtain. Dragon lore dock has its own dock.
Oh no, yeah. The granddad was a different one. His mum died there.
Oh,
So
right.
he will say the same thing about her.
His mother.
Yeah.
Will the bones of a dragon succumb to normal fire?
Of a white dragon they will.
Then it shall be done. We do
We
not
just
wish
get
to
her name? So
Yes.
Oh yeah.
too far?
Reithan.
Please type it.
Reitl. Fine. It just because I have Facebook closed, so it doesn't ping on the video, so I have to open it every time and then close it again.
Declan will say, we hope you will forgive our brashness, but have you any aid you can proffer? We understand that Gormanthan is a dangerous place, especially for mortals such as we.
It is more dangerous for me there than you. What aid do you need?
Weapons, protection, whatever you can offer, we would be grateful for.
Something that can calm the waves.
Yeah, something to control the weather.
Something that makes me not a liar.
Like maybe a lute of some regard that might have control weather.
I happen to have this flute of weather controlling.
Well, an
Shit, I don't
instrument
play flute.
kept in ice would not
It's
be
an ocarina.
usable.
Boo-doo-doo, boo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo.
Well, you don't want to play the Song of Storms when you're on a ship. Seems like a bad idea.
Hey, it worked the other.
Sounds like
It
a
worked
shit
the
way
other
to
way
go.
too. It worked the other way too.
Okay.
Okay.
He doesn't have one, so moot point.
Oh, boy.
Apologies.
Anyway, give us treasure, Rob.
He will offer you a large dragon-killing harpoon.
Okay. We could take 12 of those.
Okay,
Damn it.
it's very large. It's like the shitty Hobbit movie large, you know. That was a double joke because I meant the harpoon in the shitty Hobbit movie, but also the shitty Hobbit movies are very large in and of themselves. I'm fucking genius, y'all.
So is he actually offering us a dragon
Yeah,
harpoon?
so he
Very
will
sad.
say, I have a harpoon for killing my kind. You may take it if that is what you wish.
A powerful weapon, and we would be grateful.
I am interested to see how exactly you would get it out of here. But
Makud, open your bag.
I think it means it's frozen in ice.
no, he more means it's, you know, mahusive. He'll get it out of
Okay.
the ice for you.
Oh. How big is it?
I mean, is it meant to be wielded by a medium-sized creature? Probably not.
It's meant to be mounted on something.
Ah.
Like it's for a ship or
Like a
battlements.
Makud?
Oh my god. Someone get a backpack. Declan's like, give me a backpack in 2 hours.
Just turn him into a Gundam.
Yeah. But he will offer to drop it and yourselves in Calland, if you wish.
Okay. Makud does have 22 strength. He is far beyond a mortal
True.
when it comes to carrying things.
Makud could probably pick it up. I mean,
I'm not saying I could expertly wield it,
Yeah.
but like carry it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like picking up a small car. Like it's this big metal thing. So Makud probably could pick it up, but like carrying it for 40% of a day while traveling.
I mean,
Sure.
not to be rude to this very nice dragon, but is this something we can practically use?
Mm-hmm.
If
If
we
we
had
can-
like a
Will we
ship
need
to, or
Well,
a
I mean, you
harpoon
can
gun.
put it down somewhere. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like the length of what? It's
It's
bigger
like a big
than-
old ballista.
Will it
Sure.
fit in a bag of holding?
It might
I'm gonna
be
say
big.
sure.
You
For
might want
Yeah.
to put some
Proper
kind of cap
Mary
on it.
Poppins it there.
yeah, you can,
Holy shit. Okay.
you can take it apart and fit it in multiple bags. Oh, there's a dragon
Like
coming!
the end
Quick!
of it, the end of it just sticks out of the end of Makud's bag, so he
Yeah.
can't quite ever close it again.
There's a dragon coming! Quick, get the instructions out. Oh, this harpoon.
Harpoon.
These instructions make no sense.
Yeah, so if it's too big and it kind of sticks out a little, he just leaves a little pointy end of the harpoon sticking up out of the bag, and then all he has to do is just like grab a dragon by its horns and like headbutt it into the side of the bag.
Sure.
Like instead of kneeing it in the face, he just brings it down on the harpoon.
Call that a harpoon? This is a harpoon.
It's not a harpoon.
I've definitely seen it as like larger than like a gymnast, you know, like the circus balance pole thing. Like it is like a proper pike.
Yeah, it's a big ol'.
Something that would take down a ship.
Yeah, I mean it would.
With Makud wielding it.
I mean
yes.
it's designed to take out a dragon not quite as big as Reithi.
Yeah.
So
Sure. You would. Do
Like
you
a
want to figure
totally
out
normal
stats for
dragon.
that later and just
yeah,
tell me
yeah,
what
yeah.
damage it does to dragons and other things?
Most of it. It does
Okay.
most of
Full
the damage.
damage.
A d6 for every hit point, so hopefully you. uh, but do you have anything that would make the travel there easier?
Why would I have anything to make traveling on boats easier?
That is a good point. I did not think of that. But you could have come across such a thing and hoarded it, I suppose.
I would have
It does
sold
not.
it and then hoarded the money. I am a dragon. Do you? Is this your
It
first
does not.
time?
I mean, Ahazira kept a lot of things that she couldn't actually use, but okay.
She's a different beast. Reithi's like, he's real. He's not very smart. He likes shiny things.
So everything is
He's
how
not
many
really
shinies will
planning
this
for
get me
continuing.
later?
Yeah. There's a reason he has lots of he has dragon killing stuff.
Sure,
But
it does not hurt to ask.
you assume. But yeah, he will offer
If he
you.
gets insulted by me asking questions, that's
Yeah.
on him, not me.
Well, but when his foot is the thing on you after you insult him, then it's gonna hurt.
I didn't insult him.
He will offer to give you guys a lift back to Calland if you wish, as well.
It's gonna be cold.
True,
Yeah,
but it'll only be 5-10 minutes.
Sure.
Have time to freeze to death. But yes, off we go.
Okay, so he will.
I would just during the conversation or during as like him getting the things out of the ice or something. Makud is gonna not be standoffish to the kids, but he's definitely going to get distracted or something, and I imagine they're about his size as well.
Yeah.
He's probably just gonna make small talk with them, talk about the horns or something, he'll get just I imagine in that very serious conversation, Makud was only part of it, and part of it he was basically just tossing around with the kids.
Yeah. So Bane will sort of point to your horns and the adornments you have, and he'll say, "I like this. I think I will do this myself."
We do quite a lot of different patterns, and he will explain to him various meanings of various things that he's got. My kind, that we all tell stories, and our parents, and he kind of beckons back towards, them talking, and our grandparents and our ancestors beyond that. They're always with us, and we show that. It is a never going story. Never ending. I was trying not to say never ending story and try and say ever going story instead. And basically he'll just explain some of the things that he has, and probably part of their adventures and why he has various things.
And during the conversation, Bane and Faith will or Fiath will join in and sort of give you some of their stories as well. Telling them, they'll tell you specifically that their father killed an ancient black dragon many years ago, or their parents, their father and mother together, killed an ancient black dragon, and they're very proud proper kind of like yourself. So I imagine the two of you get on well, like one-upping each other with badass stories. But and
Absolutely. If I if he has any, if there's any gems, I think I've used all my nice gems, but if he has anything kicking around, he will like give them something. I mean, he has like 30,000 gold on him and whatever else.
I'm sure. Yeah, you have
Makood is the
a
dragon.
Basically, I was basically just gonna give them some stuff, like so they could start their own. But also, I feel like just would endear yourself to a dragon quite well if you
Yeah.
give them things.
they'll take a little gem each and be like immediately very pleased. And these two half dragons will. They're pretty much Makood's their favorite person they've ever met. I think at this point, like
Nice. He likes them too.
Bane
Tell you
will.
what. I'm just to even this out. I'm gonna give them both 4 of the crystals of bounty. So they're like gems, but they make food. Because they make 10 normal size humans worth of food.
That's
Probably
that's
enough to
about
feed
right,
a dragon once.
Bane will say that is so much better than normal gems.
It is pretty good. Normal gems are good too. But gems you can eat even better.
Can they do that forever, or is it like you use them a certain number of times? And
You
then
crush 'em.
Makood bought them from a shop. They're one use. He had 58 of them, and
Oh wow.
I bought a whole bunch of them, and then we never really talked
Uh-huh.
about. In all the journeying through the deserts, we didn't really talk about dinner that often.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
we
I
never
was
had
just
much
sort
of
of
an
like,
opportunity.
Makood was like, I was like, yeah, there's like these little gems. Makood was like, 58 of them. I was like, okay, we don't need to worry about food and rations for the journey.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I imagine
Thanks,
some
Dan.
of them have been used.
Yeah.
I don't imagine he's exhausted them, but he'll give.
You were there for like a month? Out for like a month?
We were
3
traveling in
weeks?
the desert for like a month, yeah.
Yeah, so 20,
We weren't
30
as-
ago?
Yeah, we weren't out there as long as we thought we were going to be because of the dragon teleporting
Teleportating,
and
yeah.
all that business. And then
So-
traveling with dwarves and stuff probably helped.
Yeah. So, speaking of never-ending story, you'll get a lift from 3 dragons. Curiously
We
enough,
do a tray, one Falcor.
Yeah.
Put our hands up.
curiously enough, they fly directly for Calland, circle overhead a little bit before landing in the very, very large, like, open section beside it. And the guards look a little startled, but not, like, oh my god, there's a dragon outside. Like, they sort of jump a bit, but they look like they've seen it before. Reithi says, again, like his voice much deeper and, you know, growling, "We will find Silpha, and then maybe we will meet you again at the home of the Kitanerai."
We should look forward to the day. Thank you again for all you have done for us.
They nod. Bane and Fiat like nod at Makood. Before
back.
the 3 dragons take to the sky again with force that pretty much bowls you all over, as they are enormous. But yeah, you're back in a shot. Fuck me.
You had done so well.
Ah,
You had done so well.
You just said it correctly too.
Son of a bitch. Oh. I'm sorry, is all I can really say. You're back in Calland.
The guards weren't that shocked. Like this happens.
They've
Passage.
seen Reithi and Co before, definitely.
Okay.
Is that a common occurrence for you? Brushmin will ask.
One of the guards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they come around every now and then when they need things.
And how do you all like living alongside a cadre of white dragons?
It's pretty good, honestly. Um, don't really have to worry about raids or wars or there's a fucking dragon or three.
Very good. Carry on.
Well, I think we have a boat to catch, assuming it hasn't left without us.
I'd be
Okay,
really mad if it's left without us.
you arrive at
Did
the
all
dock.
did all the kids go to the Kitanarai? Did they all go in the same direction? Out of interest.
Yeah. They all flew together.
We
They're
could have just damn it! I should have asked about the winter wolves.
I'm
You
sure
might
we'll
have had
find
one
something.
frozen in their wall.
Would that have been an honorable?
Flashback to Makood, and he just happens to miss it as he walks past this huge frozen winter wolf.
It's like, which one is the Ice Age movie where they're on the slides and there's all the animals frozen in the different
Ice
stages?
Age?
Possibly the first.
It's
think.
either the first or the second. Either way, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I'm getting off topic. Okay. You arrive at the docks and find your ship is there. You see Yuri kind of like reclining on the ship. Oh, excuse me. And when she sees you, she gets to her feet in surprise. And she points up at the sky as you approach and says, "That was you?" She says that in Callan.
It was.
Well, I'm surprised.
Well, now you know not to doubt me.
Sure do. So, we're ready to leave for Gormanthan whenever you are.
I'll just ask my fellows if there's anything that they need. Are we ready to depart?
Cannot think of anything that we could do to prepare in Callan that would make our journey any easier, unless there is some magic shops that we missed on our way around. She says, kind of looking at Yuri expectantly.
Yeriko shrugs. I don't know. Not really a place for magic here. We don't really put as much stock in it, I suppose. There's a few places, but I imagine whatever fancy place you're from has much more.
Ambarashmina will kind of nod and take that for what it is worth.
Well, alright then. And she'll kind of beckon you all into the boat, begin kind of putting up the sails and rowing their way out of the docks into the sea. And I think we can either take a break or keep going for a bit.
I'm gonna have a visitor in about 10 minutes, and then they'll be here for probably about 20 minutes.
Okay.
So we could play for 10 more minutes. Either way you want to do it. I mean, you guys can play without me for a little bit too. Declan will just be quiet.
I mean, we wouldn't go for a huge amount longer anyway.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a headache brewing, so yeah, we can
And
play
what else
until.
Okay, never mind. Play until Dylan has to go and then call it.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
that works. All right. So yeah, the ship is it's pretty comfortable. Lots of furs and stuff to keep you warm. You see Yuri kind of stands at the back, one hand on several ropes that sort of lead up to control the sail, and the other hand expertly steering the rudder kind of turning the ship this way and that.
Could I have a moment with Makud before anything happens?
Of course.
Maybe while Makud's like looking a little seasick, Zachlin will go over and I don't know if he looks okay, then never mind. But he'll still go over and talk regardless.
I mean, I think it's a little uncomfortable. I'm not sure he's seasick because he's been swimming around and things, but
Right.
it's just like he's trying not to rock the boat purposely. So,
well, to take his mind off things, Declan will come over and say, "You know, it's been quite a long time since we added a new entry into our wonderful things of a Shah. Can you think of a word that would begin with the letter N? The N, the sound." There is a very obvious one that is quite wonderful.
Nahasila?
Nahasir is a good one. As an alternative, I was thinking night. Which do you prefer? The night which makes the day, which makes the heat fade, or Nahasira, the brave and wise? Or something.
Makud thinks about it for, like 30 seconds, a minute or something, and then he's like, Nahasira, like, lives up in the mountains. I don't think she wants people to know who she is. I think we should go with night.
Very well. Do a little sketch of maybe like Makud in an oasis at night, like resting under a palm tree or something.
You're like doing that. He's like, thinking about it when we put. Presumably you've taught him the word publish or something like that. Like when we publish this book, maybe the whole world will know of her.
Maybe. We shall have to ask her if she prefers anonymity in the tales that will be told of what we do. But N is for the desert night, when the heat of the day doth fade. Very good. Close the book.
Do we have like our own quarters on this ship,
No,
or is it all
it's-
open deck?
It's a longboat. It's a single deck.
Okay.
It's a Viking longship you're in, so it's
Okay.
there's nowhere to like go below decks. There's no beds or anything like that. Though she indicates that the journey will probably take like a day and a night, so it's not
Take how long?
a day and a night.
Oh, I just realized that we have E is for evening and N is for night. A little redundant. We'll think of something better later.
That comes in the
Nuptials.
second pass.
And is for neck punches.
Wow. Just like a little picture of Makud punching someone in the head is like sideways.
Yeah. So we the sea gets quite choppy, like kind of white breaker waves, like crashing into the sides, but Yuri absolutely seems to kind of thrive on it. Like she is, the harder the sailing gets, the more she seems to be kind of smiling and enjoying herself, navigating the sort of brutal difficulty that, like, being from a Shah, you've never really seen waves of this caliber. You know, you've seen lapping, maybe the odd bigger wave, but you've never seen seas that actively seem like they're trying to drown everyone on the ship. So it's probably a bit of a white knuckle.
So what kind of save do we get to not get sick?
That would be a Constitution saving throw, please.
And what does a 10 get Abrash bean?
That's
Sick.
big ol' Callan food vomit.
Ooh.
Ugh.
It's like a lot of like milk and cheese and stuff. That's nasty.
It's all
Not in the
just
furs.
just
Not
the
in the
bits of
first.
animals that people don't normally eat, you know.
Mm-mm.
Just basically throws up one long intestine.
That's disgusting. I have gotten sick off spaghetti before, so I don't need that image.
Oh.
I
Well, like-
rolled low and I got an unnatural 20.
I rolled a 2 and my con is +8.
With my resilient con, I rolled a 22.
Dirty 20.
All right, Mina Chundas. Oh, I'll roll for. Okay. Okay, Eli is fine. Madar,
Miraculously.
yeah. Well, he's he's pretty just
Still a
generally pretty
constitution.
chill. Yeah, he's infernal constitution, all that jazz. He's fine. Probably just spends the whole time rubbing Mina's back.
Please say he's keeping her hair out of it because
Yes.
she's got a lot of hair.
Yeah.
Guys,
You
I'm
do
gonna
that.
duck out. Feel free to wrap up without me, okay?
Okay.
Cool.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
He has a lot of hair too, so he would know to do that. And Madar is also green and throwing up over the side.
Rain will
If
comfort her.
If Makud can at all safely move on this ship without tipping things over, he feels a little sorry almost for the one orc rower of this ship. So
It's
Try and
sailing
row
currently,
him.
so he's not rowing as much
Okay.
as like tying stuff down and holding
Right.
things. But
if it came to rowing, he would help.
there will be some rowing that he will be very grateful for the giant burly man's help.
Yay. Very well.
I imagine there's some posturing and some like fellow muscular admiration, Full Metal Alchemist handshake type.
What do you look,
That's
bro?
what I love.
There's some browing. But yeah, we'll end it there.